Welcome to the Think Before You Post podcast, where we talk about all things digital citizenship and a little educational technology. I'm Christina Jantra. This is
Paula Evans.
And this is
and Therese Brandt.
And we are Neptune Navigate. This is our second episode.
That's awesome.
We are professionals and we have experience. So, something interesting I found in the news that we must discuss.
Oh, good. Let's do it.
And that is 44 state attorney generals. That sounds really interesting, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Signed a letter. 44 state attorney generals agreed to something.
That's a miracle in and of itself.
In 2022, right. Asking TikTok and Snapchat for more parental controls.
Which is a good thing.
Something we need. Now, just as a background and as a pop quiz, since we're all three educators, here's the pop quiz. How old do you have to be in order to legally have an account on any social media platform?
13.
Oh, y'all did such a good job. Good job.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, so 13 and above can be on any of them. Mm-hmm. Should they be?
No.
Probably not. Like I always tell parents, I need to quit leaning back because the people in the room are going to get mad at me. If you want to invite more drama into your house, let your 13-year-old daughter have Snapchat because it will bring drama. But back to the attorneys general. 44 state attorney generals signed a letter. So I looked at the letter. We'll put it in the show notes. You can look at it yourself. The first thing I wondered was not what did the letter say. First thing I thought was, who are the 6 who didn't sign it? Who would not sign it? So I went and looked. Now, I in a previous life, I was a librarian, so I do appreciate when people alphabetize things. And these attorney generals, they alphabetize. Mm-hmm. A glaring omission was the signature of our very own state of Texas Attorney General Kim Paxton, who did not sign this letter.
And so the question everyone wants to know.
Why would you not?
If we're talking about parental controls to protect our kids, why would a state attorney not sign that in favor of parental controls?
I cannot imagine.
Y'all, we have brainstormed about this. This is a big discussion yesterday. We came up with every single scenario that could possibly be why someone would not sign this, and we came up with nothing.
Well, none of them.
Nothing that made sense.
Nothing that made sense.
None of them that made sense or justified not signing it.
Absolutely.
There's nothing. This isn't a political issue. This is the protection of our children. So I copied or I made note of just one line from the letter because it explains it all. So they say in the letter, parental control is particularly essential on your sites due to the Discover and For You sections of your platforms, which propagate disturbing sexual content and explicit drug use for our youth. That's why we need it. And what they're asking for is not for the TikTok and Snap to develop their own parental controls. Mm-hmm. They're not asking them to do that. What they're asking for is, would you please allow these other third parties like Bark, like MobiSip, these third-party apps that are already on the marketplace, would you allow them access so that they can take their technology and use it for your site? Because there seems to be a wall between parents and these sites. Mm-hmm. One, I'm just going to say it out loud, these sites weren't created for your kids.
Right.
These sites were created for companies as a creative way for a company to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they do that on the souls of our kids. Now, when we were kind of going over these topics yesterday in the office, I mentioned this, and I still think it's a valid point, and that is, in their letter, they mention the Discover and For You page.
Mm-hmm.
How many parents do you think know what the For
None.
You page
None.
on TikTok
Very
is?
few. Very few.
So, what's the problem with that?
That the parents that the parents not being educated?
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this before. You're giving your child technology without thinking about what you're giving them.
Yeah.
And I know, we're parents. All three of us are parents, so we know how hard it is. And I'm going to admit, there were tons of things that I didn't know about till I started working here.
Yeah.
And my eyes have been wide open.
Yeah.
And what it's done is awareness and knowledge brings about conversation with your kids, which I think is huge. Your kids don't know. They can do whatever they want without you knowing, but when you're able to ask questions,
Right.
you might get an attitude.
Right.
But
And
at
there may
least,
be friction. There's
and
going
there
to be
may
some friction.
Absolutely. And that's,
Uh-huh.
tell me you don't already have that in one way or another with your kids. But it really does open up different conversations. And there's been times where I ask a question and my daughter explains it to me. She's like, no, Mom, that is not how it works. Here's how it works.
Which is a great conversation.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's just
Exactly.
See, that's what I ask parents to do. When parents ask, when should my kid get, let's just say, TikTok, I always encourage the parent, how about you download it first? How about you spend, I don't know, a month on it? Because in that letter, the For You page that they reference is the TikTok For You page. That is TikTok's algorithm figuring you out and feeding what they think you want to see. Well, there's a vast array of topics that you can find on any of these social media pages. And so it's going to just give you a variety of topics, and then it just learns from your behavior. So what I beg parents to do before you give kids social media, go spend some time there. Look at it. Know how it automatically feeds you that infinite scroll ability, how it does all that. Know that before you allow your kids to go there. Heck, we go and we interview schools. We tour schools
Absolutely.
before we let them go there. But we hand them all this stuff. I don't know. Let's move on, because this next one.
Okay, but hang on. One thing on that. It would be interesting, because we still haven't answered our question. And it would be really fascinating to me if Mr. Paxton actually answered our question. It'd be awesome if he heard this podcast and responded.
I think
Or
we
maybe
should.
somebody send an email
That'd
to
be
his
great.
office and
I'd
ask.
welcome it.
Maybe we'll do.
Okay.
We'll write that email
Okay.
when we leave here today.
Okay.
All right, more about parental controls.
Okay.
So I think it was last week, our friends at Instagram
Oh, yeah.
gave parents around the world a gift.
Which sounded so great.
Oh,
Until you read it.
I read it and I went, yes.
They seem
yes.
so proud of themselves.
They
So
were so
Instagram introduced new parental controls, which they said allowed parents and guardians to view and set time limits, get updates on who their kids are following and who's following their kids. Wasn't that so
That was
kind
great.
of them?
That was great of them.
I will also say that they have also put on the back burner, thank you, their idea of creating a social media, an Instagram for kids under 13, as though our children need a social media training wheel. But they put that on after
A lot of pushback.
A lot of pushback.
from everything from every member of Congress to every knowledgeable parent in the world.
But notice it's been put on the back burner.
Yeah, they didn't say they
didn't-
trashed
right.
it.
Exactly.
Right. It will raise its ugly head.
Yep.
But what was the problem? What's our issue?
There's a
with-
big old butt here.
Yeah, and
They're
everyone I know has a big butt.
Yeah, don't we
What's
all?
Instagram's?
It's that they're giving the kid has to give the parent permission to access. So the control is
Please.
still in the kid's hand. The parents don't have control of it. The parents have to request permission from the kid.
Which is just
Please.
absurd.
Can you imagine that conversation? Hey, Johnny, I know you like your Instagram, but could you please give me access so I can watch what you're doing? And really, I can't watch what you're doing. I can just know how much time you spend on it and who you follow and who follows you.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks, Instagram.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Maybe go back. Now, they do say in their defense, which I don't feel like I need to defend them, but they do say that they, in the next iteration of parental controls, the parent will be the one that initiates.
We'll see.
Well, exactly.
I'm not going to hold my breath.
No.
I'm not holding my breath.
And can I circle back to this since we talked about this in the previous episode? This is a great example of media literacy.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for adults.
In what way?
Well, in my mind, I think you see a headline. Parental controls. And you don't go in and read the rest of it. You go, oh, yes, they finally put parental controls. And then guess what? Then it spreads like wildfire. Guess what? They've now put parental controls. Isn't that great news? And then it spreads and you're like, everybody stops there.
Right.
They stop at the headline and you don't read further. And then you realize, wait a second. That doesn't really sound like parental controls to me.
No.
I love it. All right, let's look at, I saw this next article was fascinating to me. And that was Apple's co-founder, Steve Wozniak, the Woz, announced that he and his wife had deleted their Facebook accounts. They had deactivated, walked away from Facebook. He said in his statement that it was first, or what motivated him was, one, privacy issues. He didn't like the amount of information Facebook was collecting about him. But really, what concerned him the most, what motivated him to press that button and deactivate it was months of habitual, mindless scrolling on social media.
But how easy is it to do that and you don't even realize it? You start and then you fall down that wormhole and then an hour's gone by.
And here's what gets me. Steve Wozniak is in his, I'm thinking, mid to late 60s. I'm sorry, Steve, if you're younger than that. But I'm thinking he's okay. So his frontal lobe of his brain is well developed. He has the wherewithal in his brain to acknowledge I'm spending too much time.
And self-control.
Yeah.
And self-control.
That's it, yeah.
But 15-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 10-year-olds don't have
18-year-olds.
that. Don't have that. So that was just, I don't know, that stood out to me that was his reason for doing it. I mean, I did a research on a talk I was given recently, and I found a statistic that just shocks me. That is the average 20-year-old male, no judgment to the 20-year-old males that are in the room that y'all can't see, but the average, and our guys aren't average, they're above average.
They are
Absolutely
all
above average.
But the average 20-year-old male, by the time he reaches his mid-20s, has spent 10,000 hours playing video games.
Wow.
Ooh, wow.
Why? Wow.
That's a lot of time.
Just so you know, Drew, that you couldn't see, he was shaking his head this way.
That's not true.
So I'm thinking he didn't
He
do.
doesn't. He doesn't.
Drew says no.
Here's what I'm thinking.
Like-
You said just video games.
Yeah.
So add on to that anytime they're spending on
All the social
the
media.
other social media platforms as well. How much of their day is spent in front of a screen?
I just wonder how much creativity have we lost as a planet.
I can speak to that. This is really interesting that you bring that up. My friend is an elementary art teacher, and I spoke to her on Saturday, and I asked her how things were going, and she said, you know what? This generation of kids that are coming through, she teaches K art for K through 4th grade, and she said they have no perception of when they're doing art. She said they don't have a creativity. They can't think
On
of
their
what
own,
she gives them a topic to paint, to draw, and they're like, I don't even don't know where to start.
Really?
Really, I thought that was fascinating. And she said, like, a traditional thing that she does is she has them, she puts a fruit bowl at the front of the room and she has them draw it, And she said they didn't even know where to start making a circle or
because
a banana.
they don't spend any time just sitting, drawing, or
They
coloring.
don't spend time because everything is visually already there.
Yeah.
When they're on a computer.
They're just consumers.
They're just
Yeah.
consumers.
They're not creators.
So when it comes to an apple, they see an apple. They don't see a shape of an apple. They don't see. And so I just thought that is crazy. And she told him, I thought this was really funny. She said, by the time y'all grow up and have kids, your kids are going to have a webbed hand and a finger.
Because they don't need anything else.
They don't need anything else. All
Yeah.
they do is scroll. But
That is so
I
sad.
really thought that was interesting.
It is. Yeah.
And I know also from being an early childhood educator that fine motor skills are diminishing like crazy of kids coming up through because, think about it. When we were young, we colored with crayons, we drew, and all of that. And
We
kids
built
now,
blanket forts.
Oh, yeah.
there you go.
Those are the best.
Yeah, those were the best. But, and I mean, this is not to slam parents. Don't get it. I mean, like we're going, when our kids were little, we were so much better at it. It's not that. It's just that your kids are growing up in a digital age, and this is normal. This has been normalized.
It happens without you realizing it.
Exactly.
Parents don't realize.
Right. And so the best piece of advice I give when I talk to young moms is to teach your kid from a young age that it's okay to be bored and how to be bored. Because what I saw over my career in education was more and more, especially in the high school, not so much in the junior high, but in the high school, those teachers would teach from bell to bell. They would not give any time, like in math, they wouldn't spend any time letting students start their homework.
And ask questions.
And ask questions because they said, if I give them any free time, air quotes, they don't know what to do with it because they're not used to just having to sit with their thoughts or sit and have nothing to do. We sat at a funeral a couple of years ago, and one of the small grandkids, it was their grandfather's funeral. The small kid couldn't sit through, or the parents didn't allow him to sit through the funeral with nothing. The kid literally played a video game all through Granddad's funeral. I'm like, I think we need to rethink this. Our kids need to know what it's like to sit at a dinner table with a bunch of adults and be bored.
Think about that. How many restaurants you go to?
Oh, yeah.
How many grocery
The
stores?
grocery store, and the kid has the device while they're sitting in the cart.
Yeah.
Yeah. It kills me.
Just
It's a whole new world, and like it or not, you're parenting through it, and your kids are growing up in it. So it's just so important to just think about these things.
All right, let's talk about. Anybody want to tell me the best thing you saw on the internet this week? Anybody got anything?
Go ahead, Paula.
I'll go on this one.
Okay.
What?
Go ahead.
Say something?
No, I would not interrupt you.
There's an Instagram account called SharonSaysSo.
Love SharonSaysSo.
Love her because
I'm a paid governor.
Are you a paid governor? Yeah,
I am.
Sharon is a former government teacher. She started, it actually, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think her account really took off in 2020 during the election when she was trying to educate people for the election. Here's I'm going to shorten this version. One of the things that just fascinates me about Sharon, first, is her wealth of knowledge that she has that she's willing to share. She doesn't pick sides on anything. She just gives you facts and allows you to make your own determination on whatever the topic is. But here's what, and I made notes on this because I didn't want to get it wrong. She has such a huge following. When she hit 50,000 followers, she wanted to celebrate. So she asked her followers, what can we do? So they started donating money so that she could make someone's day. At that point, they earned, I think it was 50,000, or was it 50, maybe more than that, 50,000. It was 50,000. She had 50,000 followers. They earned $125,000 to share to make someone's day. Since that time, the people in 5 days collected money to forgive medical debt of $560,000. They ended up forgiving $147,001,232.41 of medical debt, because each $100 equals $10,000 in medical debt. And then most recently, $623,000 for Ukraine relief.
Wow.
To me, that's using your platform for a positive.
Absolutely. And what's cool is, because I've given to several of those endeavors, is it's just people like us giving Venmoing
$1,
$5.
Yes.
Just it's using the internet for good.
Yeah.
And then in the midst of all the stuff because she's giving you facts of what's happening around the world, and it gets so depressing at times, she'll throw in pictures of whales or eagles or animals that make you laugh and just make you feel good, so that you're not just left.
Did you say wells, like water wells?
Well, as in
whale, a sea creature?
A sea creature that lives in the ocean.
Thank you.
And has a stop
and
and
eagles.
blows.
She has a big thing for eagles.
Yeah. It's just she's one of my favorite to follow.
Yeah.
And got anything good?
I do.
Make
and
it fast.
Okay, this resonated with me. Social media for seniors. Jennifer Danku, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, a former teacher and principal, founded Social Media for Seniors. She recognized the need for seniors to have, it started with her mom. Her mom needed so much help with her digital devices. She thought, hey, maybe there's a need out there for senior citizens. So they had questions about their devices and technology and nowhere to go for help. Family members didn't have patience. They were busy with jobs and kids. They didn't have time to sit with them. So she used her background in education and her love for teaching to empower seniors with their technology.
How cool.
They offer training for Apple, Android, Mac, and PC computers. They teach seniors how to use their devices to FaceTime and Skype with family members, and how to use social media if they so desire. They've got locations all over. If you go to the website, it's Social Media for Seniors. 4 is in the number 4.
Oh, I love it.
And they have teachers, they have educators that come on there, and they have videos to teach. They have locations to teach, and they actually have at their locations, they have people that will go into assisted living or retirement communities.
Classes. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. All right. Thank you. That 2 good things happening on the internet. Yeah. Who knew? It could be.
Who knew?
Good things could happen on the internet.
And you know what? We're going to have even more.
And we don't have to look that hard for them.
Nope.
They're there. All right. Thanks for joining us. It's our second episode. Will there be a third? It's yet to be determined.
Stay tuned.
All right. Stay tuned. Thanks for joining us on the
Think Before You Post.
See, it was only the second episode. I'm not used to it. On the Think Before You Post podcast.